Good day there, once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, coming to you guys with some more Titanfall 2 content. Today folks, we're going to be continuing my descent to insanity with another installment of the Time to Gear Up series, the series dedicated to your input as a community. But how exactly do we achieve dedication like this? Well, it's quite simple really. All you have to do is leave a loadout in the comment section down below, whether it be as simple as a loadout that you tend to do really well with in-game, to as stupid as attempting to snipe with the Ronin class Titan, and the highest rated loadout will be featured in the next episode. Now this time around we're going to be changing the way we play in Titanfall 2 big time with a loadout by Panda the Green titled Sam Fishing. And while there is probably a reference that I am totally missing there, I was really unsure as to what I was in store for with this loadout. That is of course until I read the rest of the comment, and to give you guys an idea as to where this loadout is actually going, think stealth. Lots of stealth. Let's get the show on the road and see what kind of pain and suffering that we are in for here today. The primary weapon we are going to be equipping here today is the Hemlock Burstfire Assault Rifle. Quite easily one of the most annoying yet effective weapons on the frontier to this date with its devastating damage model. However, none of that really matters here in this case, which, well, that will make sense in a few moments here. Spoiler alert, the Hemlock is not that stealthy. Our secondary weapon, which on the contrary is a lot more important here with this loadout, is the P2016 semi-automatic pistol with a suppressor attached, because it's one thing to have a reliable primary, sidearm on the battlefield, but it's a whole other thing to have a reliable sidearm that conceals you on the battlefield. Something to keep in mind here is that Panda the Green gave me the freedom to choose what went in the gaps that he left on his loadout comment, so I chose to put Tech to Kill into the second modification slot on our sidearm there. Now, when we get to our tactical ability, and our offensive ordnance for that matter, we're going to be running a couple of gear items that I have used the least in my time of playing Titanfall 2. We are of course going to be running with the Cloak and the Smoke Grenade for their respective slots. And, well, having used these two abilities very little, if not at all, I knew this was going to be a very quote-unquote fun time for me. Now, when we get to our pilot kit slots, in Kit 1 we're going to be rocking the Power Cell kit to speed up the recharge rate on our tactical ability, and in Kit 2 we're going to be running the Low Profile kit to ensure that we can remain as stealthy as possible in all situations that we are presented with. And we actually had an execution specified for this loadout too, just to add the icing on the cake, that being the Neckbreaker execution, which made me sort of sad considering that I really needed executions with the Inner Pieces execution for the new execution, that being Late Hit. I'm still waiting to unlock that thing. And that, my friends, is one of the loadouts that we were presented with from the last episode, and the loadout that you all chose. But as I said in that last episode, a loadout in this series isn't just limited by the contents of the loadout itself. Extra rules can be added for a little bit more flair, and that is where old mate Panda the Green went to town on me. Panda states, "So, you like the Hemlock as a primary, huh? Too bad, you're not going to use it. You're going to be the true king of stealth, Sam Fisher. You'll use your cloak ability and smoke to move around the map unseen while taking out enemies with your silenced pistol. A true master of stealth knows that it is unwise to run around in the open. That's why Sam Fisher chooses to remain indoors whenever he can. This allows him to get close to the enemy unnoticed, after which he can continue to snap some necks and shooting his enemies while staying off the map." Remember how I said earlier that it really didn't matter how devastating the Hemlock Assault Rifle was? Now you know the real reason why. If I had the option to throw the weapon away, I would have just thrown the Hemlock away in an attempt to make myself a little bit lighter on the battlefield. But sadly, that, well, wasn't an option. If anything, I'm actually just really thankful to Panda the Green for giving me the most reliable sidearm in the game to run with as an impromptu primary weapon. If this loadout has really taught me anything, it is that the P2016 is a sidearm that is extremely effective in a lot of situations that will get thrown at it. I was actually very hard pressed to find a situation in game that I said to myself, well, I really had no chance there regardless of what I did, with the rare occasion being when I would find myself going against a sniper of some sort of description. And with amped weapons enabled, oh my god, did the pistol become an absolute killing machine. And also proceeded to remove my suppressor on my screen at least. Whether it was a client-side thing or not, I'm not 100% sure, but what I will say is that what is why you're seeing some gameplay without the suppressor attached. That is simply amped weapons being activated. With all that said, as you can probably gather from the footage of this video, I found it really hard to change up my playstyle to match what the loadout had intended me to do. Remaining indoors and stealthy in Titanfall 2 is extremely hard to do thanks to its blitzing pace. You could be moving to flank an enemy position, and by the time you get there, it's already too late. The battle lines have shifted, or at least the closest thing you can get to a battle line in Titanfall 2, especially when you have the prerequisite to stay indoors. So I will admit, during my time of playing with this loadout, I found it extremely difficult to remain as grounded as I needed to be, and also brought up my point about how incredibly difficult it is to, if not impossible, to remain stealthy yet mobile in this game. Sure, the stealthy playstyle is possible if you get yourself to a position, get a few kills with the sniper rifle, and then move quickly out of the way. But when on the move, I found that staying stealthy is extremely difficult, but all the same time, fun as hell to attempt. There were a couple of occasions that I caught players off guard, and it was so satisfying as hell to watch them panic, bamboozling pilots by baiting them into a room only to kill them from the corner that they weren't expecting was also hilarious to pull off. What I'm really trying to get at here is that the overall loadout wasn't very practical in the slightest, but by God was it challenging and rewarding, and for that reason it's a great deal of fun. This is not something to try and attempt if you really care about your stats. Believe me, my stats look atrocious after trying this loadout, but if you're in it just for the shits and the gigs, then this is something you might as well be interested in trying. Which is also something that I really do enjoy about this series. Sure, every once in a while I'm going to try and get some awesome KDR stats within my bracket of 10 games for the night, but if I'm in it just for a good deal of fun, then your guys' loadouts really do bring out a certain challenging aspect of Titanfall 2, or of any game for that matter, that kind of makes things interesting and revives the experience for me in the slightest. So I'm very thankful for that. But anyway guys, on that note, it's time we wrapped up today's episode of the Time to Gear Up series. Guys, if you enjoyed today's video, whether you found it informative by some stretch of the imagination or found it entertaining, then a back any of that like button would be greatly appreciated. And if you find yourself new to the channel, then why don't you backhand that subscribe button whilst you're at it to keep up to date with the content in which I'm releasing here on my channel. As per always guys, any comment, whether it be in the form of feedback or a loadout for this series, is as always appreciated. And once again guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I'll be seeing you all next time. Have a good one.